Dr. Tom Roselle live right now, 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
Welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live and Happy New Year. I'm going to be your host today, Dr. Leonard Poe. Dr. Roselle is out playing hooky today. He's goofing off somewhere warm, somewhere tropical, probably being a bum right now, but it's well deserved for him. If you tried and applied and have had health problems for the past and you've tried different things, as he would say, and you're getting the same old, nothing's happening, nothing's changing, you're stuck in that rut, and now today we can say year after year, well, this is your chance. Let's see if we can figure out some ways to start to improve your health, to get you back on track. What we're really about is really changing your health and really trying to get you on the right path here and not to manage pain, not to manage your health problems, but to really go about trying to improve them, get them back on track where they need to be. So this is your chance. Give us a call today, 1-800-630-WMAL, and we'll see if we can help you with some of these things. And today, since it is the new year and it's a time for new beginnings and new starts, let's see if we can plan some goals and try to get you on the right path here. This is the time that everybody sets out to make some changes, and often they're just a little too short-lived. We don't stick to them as well as we should, for as long as we should. So we want to try to help you today figure out some goals. How do you make it work? How do you apply it? How do you get it to stick? How can you really go about making the changes in your life so that they stay, so that your health improves and it gets better? And today with me, I have a very special guest, the most beautiful woman in the world, my wife, Erin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So today we're going to talk about a couple different things. And when we talk about healthcare, there's lots of things that we do for patients to help get them on the right track. But there's so much that patients can do for themselves, more so than you could ever possibly imagine. And we're going to talk about some of those things today. When we have patients come in, and they want to change their lives, and they want to get their health back on track, it's a two-way street. It's a give-and-take relationship, and it really is a relationship, because there's things that we do, and there's things that we help to evaluate, some basic health things, but then there's so much more that the patient can do for themselves, and those are some of the pieces I want to talk about today. It really breaks my heart, absolutely breaks my heart, when I have patients come in, and they want to make changes, and they want to get on exercise, and they want to change their diet, but they don't know what to do. And they've tried things, and they've set goals, and they've made changes, but they're just not working. And that's where we come back and we talk about those structural, chemical, and mental emotional pathways that we always talk about on the program. You've got to have some of these things set in place first. You've got to make sure that you're at a place where it's going to benefit you. And that's some of what I want to talk about first. Some real basic things that, it's the start of the year, things to think about, simple things like, when's the last time you had a physical? When's the last time you had someone look at you and evaluate you from a health and medical perspective and make sure that you're in the right place, and that your body is at a place where you can exercise safely, you can find a good nutritional pathway for you that's going to be fulfilling for you, that's going to get you where you want to go. Basic things to look at. When's the last time you had blood work taken? And those are some of the things I want to talk about. As far as basic blood work goes, this is the time of year to get it done. Get a good baseline. If it's been a while, look at it. We want our patients to be successful, and we want them to be able to fulfill all their health goals and all their wellness goals. If the metabolism's not there, though, it makes it very difficult. And that's when I see patients come in and they've tried and they've tried and they've tried, and there's metabolic factors that get in the way. And these are the real simple things that we talk about sometimes, things like anemias, poor blood sugar handling, thyroid problems, adrenal problems from too much stress, all those things. This is the time to come in, get evaluated, look at some of these things to see, are there some problems that are outside of your hands that the body needs to be just pushed in the right direction a little bit. And those are the things that we can help you with. But like I said, today's more about talking with what you can do in your own life, with your own lifestyles, to get the biggest bang for the buck, to make the most changes. And that's why I brought in my lovely wife today to talk about. My wife is a
personal trainer,
and she's worked with lots of patients in our clinics to help get them better, to get them back on the path for exercise, to start into it, to get it done right. If you're going to go in the gym, and you've never been there before, especially if you've never been in the gym before, find a personal trainer. It's the absolute best path to get in there to make it work for you.
That is the best advice you can give right there. I can't tell you how many times I go into the gym the first of the year and, you can't find a single available machine because everybody has set that New Year's resolution of, I'm going to lose weight. Okay, well, that's great, but let's get specific about that. We got to be smart about those goals. And a lot of times you walk into that gym just being completely blinded. And, the best way to do it is to hook up with a personal trainer. You've got to have somebody who can help you be accountable for your actions, who can hold you accountable for, that cookie that you sneak in late at night, or, say, hey, let's get you going, let's get you motivated. The biggest thing I see is the drop-off come March when those New Year's resolution goals come in and they say, I'm going to lose weight. March comes around and I just can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I would put it out there to everybody this year. Irritate me the whole year round because these first couple months in the gym, it's packed. I'm overwhelmed in there. There's so many people. It irritates me. But you know what? Irritate me all year round. Please do. Get in there and stick to those goals and keep to them. So if you're going to go to the gym,
right?
Let's talk about some real basic pieces. What are some real basic pieces? Someone that's never been in the gym or it's been a long time, where do they start?
Well, the best way to start is you really should get with somebody who is experienced in the gym, who can kind of give you a baseline to work from. Get with a trainer. What they can do is they can sit down and really realistically go through your goals with you. Are you trying to lose weight? Well, that's great, but, how much do you want to lose? 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds? Okay. Well, there's definitely steps that you have to go through to get this, completed. If you're trying to get stronger, well, you're not going to have the same workout as you would if you were trying to lose weight. If you're trying to get toned and build some muscle, that's a completely different type of scenario as well. And again, working with somebody, step by step to get you to your goal is the way to be successful. If you're losing weight, great. You got to do cardio. You've got to clean up your diet. You're going to do high repetitions of weights, lighter weight. Women, you need to get strong. Don't be afraid of those weights out there. Get in there and start lifting. The best way to do it is, again, work with somebody. Your reps are going to be a lot different. For building tone and definition, again, you got to lift a little heavier, but you're using medium weights. It's a little give and take all the way around.
Like she said, the best thing is, figure out what your goal is first. Is it losing weight? Is it getting stronger? Is it getting more fit? Is it you've had an injury and you haven't been able to exercise at all, and you've got to figure out a safe way to do it? Figuring out the goal first and not just going in there and kind of meandering around and, well, maybe I'll do this machine and then I'll do this machine and I don't know, 20 reps, 15 reps, I don't know. Is it safe for me? Is it not safe for me? The first things we talk about is, a real basic thing from a cardiovascular perspective.
Yeah, and really the best guide, if you don't want to get with a trainer, the best thing you do is actually go out and invest in a heart rate monitor. I tell everybody I've worked with, you got to invest in two things, a heart rate monitor and a good pair of shoes. Everything else you can go cheap on. But the heart rate monitor works as like your coach when your trainer's not there. It tells you the safe range for your heart to be at when you are working cardiovascularly. There's different percentages, different ranges you have to train in depending on what your goals are. And that heart rate monitor helps you achieve that. And
one of the things where Erin has really helped us out and really helped our patients out has been that you have to be, for some of you out there, if you're on a lot of medications and you've got different kinds of cardiovascular problems or disease, you've got poor blood sugar handling and you're diabetic, and there's some other biochemical challenges that go along with that, then you need to be careful and you need to have someone monitoring and you need someone to be able to help and instruct you and put you, well, where should that heart rate be? How long do we go? Make sure somebody's there. Do you need to have a little snack in between to make sure that blood sugar doesn't tilt off too far? And that's a huge piece for a lot of patients that are trying to get in, but their health is, not exactly where it needs to be yet, but they want to make the effort. That's a huge piece that Erin's helped us out with quite a bit. We obviously, with chiropractic care and what we do to get the joint spaces rehabilitated again and open back up and get neurological flow back, a lot of patients come in, low back pain, knee pain, neck pain, and it's kept them from being able to exercise. So for someone like that, what are some basic core things to start with?
Well, again, the core, don't be mistaken. That's just not your abs. That's everything except for your appendages. And that's usually where I start with people, is with core training, because that is essential to being successful with lifting weights, if that's ultimately what you're trying to achieve. And again, it depends on the individual. If you're having a problem with a knee, a hip, a back, you have to strengthen the overall core, your smaller muscles, to help stabilize that before you can go into training the larger muscle groups.
So with core training, because a lot of people don't even realize what that is.
Right.
How intense is that? I mean, is that, am I doing deadlifts? Am I, doing powerlifting? Free weights? What is it?
Your core workouts are usually a lot more body weight type exercises. You do a lot of incorporation with stability balls, Bosu balls. Sometimes we use the bands. Sometimes we use hand weights. I've used everything from medicine balls to kettlebells. It really just depends on the individual.
To really nothing even.
To nothing, yeah. I mean, body weight exercises are some of the best ones you can do. Basically, because you can modify the body to any position to do the exercise.
There is a starting place for each and every single one of you out there, no matter what the excuses have been in the past about it, whether it's been I've been in too much pain, I've been too sick, I'm too tired. There is a starting place for everyone. And that's the whole point of finding someone like Erin, is because she can help you, or they can help you find that starting place, that safe starting place where you can go in and you can start to be successful. I'm a doctor, and I understand a lot about exercise physiology. Do you think I do my own workout programs and design them? Who does that for me?
I do.
She does. Because I can't. It's very difficult for us to evaluate ourselves, and I'm not even going to try to evaluate myself. I let her plan the programs for me, and I let her figure out, where am I, what do I need to work on from a physical fitness standpoint, where are my weaknesses, what are the best exercises to do in gym for me, and then she decides those things. So first and foremost, if you've never been in there or it's been a long time, find someone that can help you, that can guide you to your goal, because that's one of the things where patients get in there and people get in there and they start trying to work and they start trying to exercise, and we're just not getting any leadway.
And it leads to frustration as well, because you get overwhelmed and you don't see the results that you're trying to achieve.
And the frustration leads to stress, and the stress leads to
everything else.
One of the biggest stumbling blocks, and you've seen this with lots of your clients before, is how much stress affects the ability to actually lose weight.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. I've seen clients come and go where, they've done everything in terms of, they've food logged for me, they've kept their, carbs, proteins, fats in perfect percentages, they've done their cardio, they've done their strength training, and yet, their life is extremely stressful, everything from their personal life to their work life and everything in between. And you'll see people just, they're getting stronger, but the stress actually stops them from losing weight.
And it's not only from a weight loss perspective and a cortisol perspective for the fat burning, but it weakens that ligament system. And for a lot of patients, or a lot of people in the gym, that's when you're lifting and you keep getting these repetitive injuries over and over and over again, and that's when we see a lot of drop-off, and I just can't continue to train because it hurts. I do these lifts and they hurt. And that's a lot of times that's stress, and it's weakening the system.
Or you get, I'm not getting any stronger at this.
Welcome back to the program. I hope you're enjoying it this morning. If you're up and awake and alive and functioning yet.
Recovering from New Year's?
Yeah, recovering from New Year's. I'm sure a lot of people out there are. Of course, last night we went out. We had a good time with some friends, but I think we were in bed by
11 o'clock.
Is it that late even?
We made it to 11, yeah.
And, that's a choice that we make because, we wanted to make sure we were up in time to be able to get to the gym this morning before the program. Exercise is a part of our lifestyle. And we decided that a long time ago. One of the benefits of whatever you do, whether you're a banker, whether you're a fireman, whether you're wherever you work, whatever you do, one of the benefits is you see those things daily in your job, the mistakes that other people make. And, for a banker, they would look at, probably some of my financial decisions and say, oh, my God, what's this guy thinking? When I was in law enforcement, I saw a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons why today I don't speed. I don't drive fast because I've seen enough accidents and I've seen enough people hurt in those sorts of things that I don't do it. And with being a doctor now, and with seeing a lot of patients that come in, and seeing the pain that they're in, the loss of life that they have now, the quality is just not there. It was a big turning point for me to start to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to start to clean my act up, and I'm going to start to be healthier because, I want to have a long, happy, fruitful life with this lovely lady right next to me, and I want to be able to play with my kids. I want to be able to run around the yard with my teenage boys when I'm 45 and be able to enjoy them and be able to enjoy that time. And I want to be able to run around with the grandkids, when I'm hopefully I'm 60, 70, somewhere in there.
Hopefully.
But, it's quality of life. Yeah. And the sooner you can start with this, and the sooner you can start making changes in lifestyle, not just, and I hate the word diet.
No.
That's just, that's a bad word.
It is.
It's lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's really the key with it. From food allergies all the way up to just, basic things that everybody should know now, like stay away from hydrogenated fats.
Yeah, really.
Those
high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup.
Stay away from it.
Sugar in general.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily, which type, but just how much we get.
The best question I always get is, okay, my diet's really good, but I like sweets, and I'm not really bad at it, but, I'm trying to get my abs in shape. What do I need to do? Well, get off the sugar and go do cardio.
If you like sweets, then, have an apple.
Have an apple.
Have something that's, a natural sweet like that. That, a great dessert is, a little bowl of berries.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the chocolate fudge volcano cake with,
the whipped cream on top.
Tons of junk, it's not even real whipped cream probably.
No.
But it's about making lifestyle changes. It's about making them as soon as you can, and then really, really sticking to them. And, figuring out, setting goals for yourself. One of the things, you remember that when I first started getting back into the gym and started exercising, I had this old beat up, just
green
nasty.
Notebook.
The green notebook.
The green notebook.
I had this duffel bag that was just, probably on borderline disgusting. Just,
yeah.
And and you even, well, why don't you go get a new one?
Yeah.
You know what? If I can stick to it, and if I get in the gym, and 4 months down the road, if I'm still going regularly, I'll buy a new one.
Right.
And you know what? I have a new one now.
That's right.
Because we stuck to it.
Yep. But a lot of times, some people won't say, okay, if I stick to it, I'll go. Sometimes if you just go and buy that new gym bag or buy those new shoes, that can help you jumpstart your transformation in the gym.
And you know what? Tell everybody you're going to start working out this year.
Yeah.
Tell everybody.
Tell everybody, because then if they look at you 3 months later and you haven't lost any weight, they'll be like, hey, I thought you said you were going to be working out.
I thought you were going to go do that. Yeah, it takes a lot of cojones then to quit.
Uh-huh.
You say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it for the whole year. You wait and see. And, make your friends and your family, make them your accountability buddies, and so they keep asking and keep pestering you. That's what I do with most of my patients.
That's right.
Hey, are you still exercising? If you're not,
that's why I use
we're going to have a talk.
That's why I use the food log, because if I don't get a food log, I know they've slipped up.
That's one of the things we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the program is food logging and how to do that, and really how to make yourself accountable to your own diet. Because I'll tell you what, if you're not accountable with your diet, and you're just kind of eyeballing it, and I kind of do this, I think I eat pretty well. The patients that I have that come in that tell me that, I think I eat pretty well. We sit down and we look at those diets sometimes. It's like, you're not eating so well.
That's right.
You're getting a lot of stuff in that diet. A little bit here, a little bit there really kind of adds up.
A little bit adds up around that waistline.
A soda a day is not okay. That's a lot. That adds up over a year. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Back to the gym a little bit.
Yeah.
Real quick, give us some real basic guidelines as far as if you're going to want to lose weight.
Okay.
What are the types of things you're going to want to do? How do you focus that a little bit?
All right. Obviously, the big component in that is cardio. You've got to do cardio. Find what works for you, whether you like to take the Zumba classes, which is the new craze in the gyms, or if just getting out and walking or doing a light jog. You have to do cardio 5 days a week. Bottom line is, you can't go less than 30 minutes either, because the first part of that workout, all you're burning off is your glucose. You don't even touch your fat stores until you hit that 20-minute marker. So you've got to push yourself to go 30 to 40 minutes of cardio.
That's a big thing that I think a lot of patients don't realize. Well, I exercise for 15 minutes. You're not going to get any kind of fat loss. You're not going to start converting anything.
No, your body's just using up carbohydrates until you hit that 20-minute marker, and then you start using your fat stores to fuel your workouts. And you got to do some light resistance. You've got to touch those weights. Free weights from all the way to machines. Go higher repetitions, 15 to 18 reps, 3 sets. And you've got to work full body. Full body is the best way to burn calories and to burn fat in the body.
You're actually going to lose more weight doing anaerobic exercise than you are aerobic exercise. And that's why the weightlifting is an important piece.
It is. It's a huge component. And, I see this all the time. People are like, oh, I've lost so much weight and I just do cardio. Well, they're what I call a skinny fat person. If you were to take their body fat percentage, it would be a lot higher than somebody who were actually lift and do cardio at the same time.
That's when we start to get into a little bit of metabolic typing too.
Right.
You got your protein types, your carb types, and your mixed metabolic types. And it's important that you figure out which type you are, and that's something that we can certainly help you out with. And then you can start to tweak your exercises according to that. You can start to tweak your diet according to that. But that's a big piece, is figuring that out. Welcome back to the program, and Happy New Year again. Today we're talking a little bit about goal setting and some things that you can do for yourself in the gym, in your life, with your food, with your nutrition, to get you on a better path to health and wellness. And that's really what we want to see for all our patients, is they're getting better, they're always improving that health potential, you're never reaching it, you're always pushing it further and further, and you're getting back better function, better quality of life, because that's what it's really about. The first half we talked a lot about what can you do in the gym, how do you get in there, how do you get started, just some real basic things. And I think the bottom line that we got to is, if it's been a while, if you've never been in the gym especially,
get some help.
Have somebody help and guide you and get you in the right path. Even if it's as simple as doing the group fitness type classes.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be one-on-one if that's not what you want, but just getting in there and at least getting in group fitness and having somebody evaluate you and having somebody guide you and get you at the right starting place. Because that's what's going to make it so you see the results and you don't get frustrated and you don't get angry and you don't give up. It's really about having somebody to be accountable. So we'll talk a little bit about diet now.
Oh, boy.
And what you need to do, the real basic things that you need to do, because you can't have one without the other. I mean, they go hand in hand. I think it was Jack LaLanne that used to say, exercise is your king and nutrition's your queen, and you put them together and you've got a kingdom.
That's right.
They go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other and expect to be successful.
And it's true. I mean, people, say, okay, I exercise. Well, how's your diet? Well, exactly. I mean, believe it or not, 70% of the results that you see in the gym come from what you put in your mouth. 70. I mean, that's huge. It's not a 50-50 breakdown. It really comes down to diet.
Diet is a massive piece, and we're going to talk about it. So we kind of alluded to it a little bit, where we talked about you've got different metabolic types, and you've got real basic things. And, when it comes down to it, diets don't work. Mm-mm. And one of the things that I always tell my patients is, especially with nutrition, and really all the facets of your health, everybody's unique. Everybody's very different, and you cannot cookie cutter nutrition.
That's right.
There's lots of different diets out there, but there's no one single diet that works for everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody's unique. So it really comes down to when you have a client, right, and you're starting to evaluate them to see what kind of nutrition are they going to benefit them best. Kind of break that down a little bit for us.
Again, that really goes back to their lifestyle and what their goals are that they're trying to achieve. I mean, if you have somebody who's trying to gain a little muscle, who wants to lean out, well, the first thing I'm going to ask is, what are your protein levels like? Protein is a key essential to building muscle and to help losing weight. I mean, that people mistake, if I eat too much protein, it's going to make me bulky when I lift. No, it's not.
I hear that, and I hear, especially with elderly,
yes,
that they're scared to death of it because it's going to hurt their kidneys.
It's going to hurt their kidneys. No.
Now, how much protein are we really talking about to have to hurt the kidneys?
We're talking like over 200 grams a day, and that's a lot of protein. I mean, you're having to do what, those bodybuilders drink, like gainer shakes and excess amount of protein powders to get there.
If you are relatively healthy, if you don't have any kind of kidney disease, you'd have to eat an awful lot of protein. Protein is essential. It's so important. It's one of the things that helps balance your blood sugar throughout the day.
Not even that. I mean, for women, it's what helps us with our hair and our nails and our skin. I mean, protein is huge.
Most people aren't getting enough.
No, they're not. And, when I look at a food log that one of my clients will bring me, 9 times out of 10, it is predominantly carbohydrate loaded or fat loaded. It's very, very low in proteins.
It's one or the other.
Yeah.
It's either it's real heavy carb loaded or they're scared to death of carbs.
Yeah.
And, well, so let's get rid of that myth. Are carbs bad for you?
No, they're not bad.
No, you have to have them.
You have to have them, and they come in different forms.
That's what fuels the fire to burn fat.
That's right.
And, yeah, so go back to that because you just hit it.
Yeah, well, that's just it. When you work out, you have different levels of the way your body uses your fuel sources being carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Okay, well, the first thing that happens, and I mentioned that earlier, is your body burns off carbohydrates first, okay? Carbohydrates, again, that's, your healthy grains and, your glucose stores that are inside you.
It's sugar.
It's
Carbohydrates are your sugars.
Right. Then your body goes for the fat stores, okay? Fat stores are what we're trying to lose. That's the whole point of gaining shape, so we get leaner. And then your body will go after protein. If you don't have protein in your body to protect those muscles, your body will attack its own stores to, 1, repair the muscle, and 2, to fuel the body.
You should be going through those stores of fat on a regular basis. And we hear about how, it's genetic disposition, I can't lose weight. One of the big evolutionary benefits that we have as human beings are our ability to store fat. It was a tremendous lifesaver for us because we had to hunt that animal. We had to go out and we had to find that next meal, and it wasn't always so easy to do. So the ability to store fat was important. But then again, you have to look at, well, how did they eat? How did they, go after get that food? I mean, for me to go down and get a steak now, I don't have to go down and expel 5,000 calories trying to bring down a woolly mammoth. I can walk
to the grocery
store, expel, like 50 calories and get a T-bone.
That's right.
So you have to temper that, but we should be getting into our fat stores on a regular basis. We don't want to continually store fat because we're not, calories in, calories out, because we're not utilizing any of it. We really were designed for strenuous exercise every day.
That's right. And I would say the biggest mistake I see is, people are like, okay, well, I'm starting to eat more balanced. I'm having my little sandwich before my workout. Well, that's great, but really the only thing you need before a workout is just a little bit of protein. That way your body will willingly give up the glucose and the fat stores. If you eat something that's got fat and carbohydrates going into a workout, well, guess what? Your body's going to use the fuel that you just put into your body and not the stuff that's stored up in your body already.
Yeah, and that's, if your goals are a little bit different, if you're trying to add strength and put on muscle, then maybe. But, yeah, if you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to do those fat stores, you don't want more sugar in there because that's the first thing you got to burn through to actually get to those fat stores. It's, that's where it comes down to figuring out, well, why are you there in the first place? What are your goals? What are your intentions to do?
Right. And, and the thing is, people are always telling me, well, weight loss isn't my focus. I want to get strong, but I wouldn't mind losing weight. Well, again, you've got to be specific. You got to decide, are we going to lose weight or are we going to get strong? You can do both, but you've got to be specific so you can go through the steps properly. And again, that goes back to not just the exercise, but the diet. The first thing I tell people to do, if I bring on a new client, you're to food log for a week for me. I want the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't care what it is.
No lying, no cheating, no changing.
Right. You bite it, you write it. That's what I tell everybody. And I get some interesting things.
Now, let me ask you, do you still food? I know the answer, of course, but do you still food log?
I don't, but it took me up to almost 5 years to get to the point where I can look at food and eyeball it and say, I know what amount of calories is in this. I know portion size. But again, it's not something that happened overnight. For me, it was... No, in fact, a good quarter of my cabinet space in my kitchen was taken up by composition notebooks that are my old food logs. Because, the thing is, I don't throw them out either because they are good references. I'll pull things out that I've already figured out.
You've got recipes.
I do.
Basically, that are in there that tell us how many grams of this, that, and everything else.
That's right.
And it takes time to be able to... I couldn't do it. I couldn't sit there and eyeball and say, that's 45 grams of protein and 30 grams of carbohydrate. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
You have to do it consistently for quite some time. For a couple years, really, to really understand how to do it.
You've got to understand food. You've got to understand how food affects the body. Food, it's good to love food, but you don't want to love it so much that it takes over your body. You
eat to live and not live to eat.
There you go. And food logging really, not only does it help you be accountable for what you're putting in your body, but at the same time, you're learning about food. You're learning how it affects the body. And that's really how it ties into exercise.
Yeah, when you start adding up some of those amounts and you start to realize, like, wow,
I really can eat 2,500 calories in a day.
Yeah. Or for some people on the other side of that, it's, wow, I'm only getting like 600 calories today.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing, and that's the biggest struggle I have. It's not with people overeating, it's people undereating. You've got to eat to lose weight, and that is the biggest misconception out there is, okay, I'm going to starve myself to lose weight. No, you have to feed the body. And, it drives me crazy when I'm struggling, and unfortunately, it is the older women who do this to me, where they don't want to eat. They say, okay, I'm only going to do 1,200 calories and that's it. Well, guess what? If you put your body's metabolism too low, your body goes into survival mode, and it's not going to give up an ounce of fat.
Yeah, it's going to hold on to it
for dear life.
And that's that if you really don't understand nutrition and metabolics, that's where you really start to get frustrated, because I'm not eating, I just have salads, I'm not eating anything, but I'm not losing weight. And it could be that you're stuck in this survival mode, or you've got other underlying metabolic factors that nobody's really looked at and treated. Things like hypothyroidism, you're in adrenal fatigue, you've got anemias, you're pre-diabetic. Those will keep you from establishing and getting to that place that you want to get to, even if your diet is pretty good.
Yeah.
Or especially when you're not getting enough calories in there, and that's the biggest thing.
And that's where you see the biggest downfall in people's physiology too, is when they're not getting enough calories to support their lifestyle. That's when you actually get into muscle injury at the gym. That's when you don't recover properly. That's when you go into a workout, and instead of being sore for, up to 72 hours, which is perfectly normal, you're sore for a good 2 weeks. And it's because your body is just, the muscles aren't being healed.
It's not healing properly. And that's if you're trying to gain strength, you're trying to put on you're trying to gain some muscle mass and add some muscle on to protect yourself. If you've gotten frail over the years, if you've just wasted over the years and you want to add some on, you've got to eat. You've got to feed those muscles. You've got to get them to a place where they can actually grow and they can actually heal.
Because the bottom line is, if you don't eat and you go in that, survival mode of lack of calories, your body doesn't eat the fat stores. It actually attacks the muscle. And that's where it's just devastating, because you put all forth that, major effort in the gym, and
it's not paying off.
It's not.
And it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
So trying to talk about what types of foods to eat, that's difficult, because like I said, everybody's different. You cannot cookie cutter that. You really need someone to sit there and evaluate you, figure out what your metabolic type is, figure out who you are, what you do, what medications you're on. First, let's try to get you off those.
Right.
But, where are you? What can you eat? What can't you eat? Okay. And that's something that's very much individual basis. But in general, for most of us, let's say, how should we eat in the sense of, how many times a day?
Really, you should be eating 6 times a day. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm not talking 6 huge meals. I mean, we're talking, medium size, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then, your snacks in between. I mean, really, you should be eating. The
snacks are important. I mean, you go back, you look at kids in school. They have snack breaks, and they're there for a reason.
It's because they need to eat.
It's the same thing in adults. I ask patients all the time, well, how do you feel after you eat? And I'll give you I'll give you a hint here. If you ever come in and see me and I ask you a question, the correct answer is, I feel full. You shouldn't feel more energetic. You shouldn't feel tired. But, how many of you out there, after you eat, you feel tired? You want to, if I eat, I'm going to have to take a nap.
I need to go sleep.
Or,
God, I'm starving. I need to eat some more.
Yeah. If you're tired after you eat, you're going into insulin resistance. And, that's the flip side of the coin of anemia. If you feel better after you eat, then you're hypoglycemic. How many of you out there know that, I get shaky, I get irritable, I get downright ugly.
I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Or someone that gets like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're getting reactive hypoglycemic. And you've got to have those snacks in there. You've got to get those calories in there in between. They're important. That's what maintains that blood sugar. That's what keeps you from crashing.
And again, those snacks have to have protein in it too. It can't.
They've got to be smart.
They got to be smart snacks. Absolutely. They can't just be, I'm going to have some corn chips. Well,
the best mix is a little bit of, and let's not be afraid of fats.
Yeah, really.
We're going to come up to a break here in a little bit, but when we come back, we'll talk about fats a little. Let's dispel that myth, because fats are hugely important.
You need them.
You have to have them in your diet, but you want to have the smart ones in your diet. The bottom line, when we talk about meals throughout the day, that, I've got a couple different analogies that depending on the patient, but, in the morning, you should have a platter. And for lunch, you should have a plate, and at night, you should have a saucer. Our heavier meal should be in the morning. And how many of you out there actually sit down and have breakfast? Actually get something in there. And I know we're rushed. Believe me, I'm be the first one to tell you that I don't have a lot of time in the mornings. But I get something in me. I'll get a heavy shake. I'll put some spinach in it. I'll put, we'll load it up, lots of protein. I'll have something. I'll have 500 or 600 calories easily first thing in the morning to get me going.
That's right.
And the way we do our meals, for most patients, they tend to skip throughout the day. They get maybe one or two little things, but then at the end of the day, it's that huge meal. And guess what it's doing while you're laying there at night?
Going right to fat. It's
storing because you're not utilizing any of those calories. Let's get right back into the fats because that's a big piece, and that could be a whole show in and of itself.
Absolutely, it could be. And that people
tell us about them.
I think that one of the things I hear constantly are, if I eat fat, I'm going to be fat. No, it doesn't work that way. Your body needs smart fats to actually fuel that metabolism. And we're talking, like your coconut oil. We're talking about your olive oil. We're talking about almonds and your nut family. It's essential. It's part of the platter that I try to design for people with your protein, your carbs, and your fats. You need it. It's bottom line is you need those fats.
You've got to have them. If you don't have fat in the diet, you're not going to lose fat.
No.
And that's the bottom line. Fat is the backbone for so many different things in the body that you can't start cutting. This is like the argument we get into with cholesterol. Cholesterol is the backbone for all of your hormones. And if you try to drop your cholesterol down around your ankles, I want, the lower the number, the better. Well, you know what? That's not true. And that's bad physiology.
Right. And,
you don't want your cholesterol down around your ankles. You don't want your cholesterol down there around 30. You're not going to make your hormones at that point. I mean, that's a whole other topic, but you've got to have the fat in the diet. I mean, that's a huge piece. Not everything, even if you're trying to lose weight, you don't want to have everything fat-free.
No, my God. In fact, fat-free will make you fatter. It will. And I was actually very proud the other day in the grocery store. I was, pushing the kids, and I saw this mother.
I was there with you.
Yes.
I remember that.
And I saw this mother, and the kid goes, "Oh, Mom, can we get these chips?" And she looks at it, and she goes, "No, they're fat-free. Put them back." And I wanted to turn to her and say, "Thank you."
That's, and that's a big point, and if you are, like us, you've got some kids, you don't want to have those fat-free things in the house. The kids especially, they have to have that fat in their diet. It's hugely important for brain function and brain development. I mean, the growing child needs their fats, but make them smart fats. Avocados, the nuts,
I can't tell you how many times we put avocados into our smoothies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an easy way to get some good, healthy fats.
You get good fats into the kids and good fats into us.
And fats help you stay full, too. That's the thing. With those snacks that we mentioned earlier, one of the biggest things I usually mention is just do your homemade trail mix.
Yeah. A handful of nuts, maybe some carrots, just it can be anything.
That's
but,
right.
make them the smart fats. The nut butters, almond butter is one of the best ones.
Cashew butter's great.
Cashew butter, there's tons and tons of really smart fats out there. And you want to get those things in the diet, and you've got to have them in there. You don't want to be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of carbs. Don't be afraid of
your
protein.
proteins.
Don't be afraid of the fats. It's, if you're afraid of all those things, then there's nothing else left to eat.
You got to conquer that fear of food, which a lot of people have. They just don't understand food, and that's
the big thing is learning how to understand it.
That's right.
If you want to learn more, if you want to gain some more knowledge in this, please, go to our website, rosellecare.com. You can always email us with questions, on anything at all, any kind of health concerns. But especially this time of year, you're trying to get back into it. You want to lay out a plan, want to lay out a goal. Let us help you. Let us help you get where you want to get. No matter what it is, whether we're talking weight loss, we want to gain muscle, we want to gain strength, please visit our website. We've got a whole year planned out. We've got a lot of lectures coming up. We've really changed up some of our lecture topics this year. We've got some really exciting ones. So, I invite you to go to the website, take a look at some of those things, and please feel free to email us anytime at rosellecare.com or give our office a call, 703-698-7117. Get to the gym, but start today.
And bottom line is you got to be smart. There's that little analogy that I remember learning years ago. It's called SMART. You got to be specific, motivational, accountable, responsible, and your goals have to be touchable. it's.
I think that's some of Daddy's influence there.
That is. I got to put a little bit in there for him.
He's probably, if he's listening to the program somewhere down in the tropics, which, I wouldn't be surprised. He's probably got his iPad with him, and he's listening in. He's probably scared to death.
He can't shut down.
He's probably sitting back smiling. Yeah, it's hard for him. He's probably sitting back smiling right now. She remembers that stuff.
That's right.
Now, if I get my son-in-law in line, I'd be in good shape. If you want to come up with a plan, we're here to help. That's the bottom line. But make the decision. Make it today. Don't keep putting it off. The longer you put it off,
the longer it's going to take you to get there.
You're going to keep putting it off. You're just not going to make that leap. It's I talk to people all the time. They've got pain, they've got this, they've got that. They want to come in and get help. If they don't come in right away, they're not coming in, because it will keep going on, and it'll never get resolved. So make that decision to do it.
And make yourself a priority.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
It's, start thinking about that long term, that quality of life that you want to have. Well, I hope you enjoyed it today. Dr. Roselle will be back next week, and I'm sure he's going to want to hear from everyone about how wonderful this program was. Have a happy New Year.